ways to talk about it, but what actually happens is that when you would expect the pain level to be decreasing, it increases, and it actually co-opts other, I think it's neurons, I can't remember, but basically it takes over other things in the brain and says, oh, okay, we need to like go full force here because this injury, you know, that's actually not there anymore. Needs our attention, so the body just like sends more and more pain signals, basically. Oh, go ahead.
Would that apply to chronic daily migraine?
Yeah. I mean, chronic daily migraine is definitely a form of chronic pain, and I believe so. I mean, migraines are tricky from what I know, and again, I'm not a physician, and well, even if I were a physician, they're great. Some of them are great. Some of them only know so much. But, you know, migraines are tricky because they're like, there's not even, well, maybe for chronic migraines, but like there are contested ideas of what actually feeds migraines and like all that stuff. But I think my understanding, at least, is that for any kind of pain condition, it's like the more that you're in pain, the more the pain increases, and then it just keeps sort of accelerating. And that's why it's so important to get pain, like chronic pain conditions, it's actually really important to get them back under control really quickly, as much as possible, because that early intervention, and sadly this doesn't happen a lot because people are just told, well, it's just taking a little longer, well, we don't know what you want us to do. I mean, that's kind of the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is, well, or a worst case scenario is like, you're a drug seeker and you're not really in pain and we don't believe you and like go away. So back to the brain, the brain, spinal cord, nervous system thing. It dysregulates the nervous system, and so the longer that goes on for, you know, the deeper these grooves in the brain become, if you want to think of it that way, and the harder it is to then be able to get out of that. That's similar with like anxiety conditions or even depression. From what I understand, again, like, and this is an oversimplification, but it's kind of like if somebody's really anxious and it keeps kind of escalating, it actually becomes harder and harder to bring it back to equilibrium because, I mean, you're being like all these chemicals and signals that are saying like, be really anxious, and that's really hard to deal with, and then it's also becoming more and more entrenched as a whole, you know, a whole body issue. Like I say the brain, but when I'm talking about the brain, I'm talking about like the brain and the spinal cord, and that dysregulates the whole nervous system, and you know, and again, for people whose nervous systems are already prone to being dysregulated, and different people have different levels of sensitivity, that, you know, anyway, it all just kind of feeds into the chronic pain cycle. You had